Oh, right. The triplet picking, that sounded really good. Really good. So, step 4, start working on that. Remember, you can break this down into smaller steps if need be. So you can work on just this bar, each individual bar by itself, and then start doing 2 bars at a time. It's totally fine. I've actually wondered if I should have made things like that, where always just starting with 2, then 3, then 4 bars for all these different steps. But I think I'll go step 2 and 3 here because it's like the same amount of notes for step 2 and 3 and 4. I just kind of left it as is. But anyway, step 4, start working on that. So again, you can start with just 1 bar at a time. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's a great idea. And then the 2 bars at a time. And then you can also like hit those 3 and those 3 and then the whole thing. Anyway, it sounded really good. When you got to the 240 or not 240, the 200 on this guy, it wasn't synced up. Stuff before that, it was. So I've said that I'm not too worried about, making the whole full sweep kind of thing. I'm having it just one motion. Like eventually, it'll just kind of turn into that. I think for you, we need to actually make an effort to make it one smooth motion because I think the down is preventing you from playing it fast enough because it felt like you were behind through 200. So without a metronome, what you can do is just really practice having this be like one fluid motion. And you can do just like the 2 notes there. Actually, now that I'm doing this, I'm wondering, would it... I don't know if this would make it worse or be more difficult or not. Because that could get you in the right mindset. Obviously, it's different than... Maybe try this as an idea. So I'm basically just holding a C major 7 here. We're just stacking the fingers up like that. And then kind of a couple times, just do a little arpeggio like that. So you see, I'm not doing individual picks like that. I'm trying to make it just one smooth motion there. And we're not trying to do this. We want to hear da 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 dun. Actually, here, let me switch to this white pick, zoom in, and see if this helps you get an even better sense of what's happening. Let's get rid of that for now. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Wrong way. So, so again, now that I'm in this position, I could just do this too. Oh, I'm about to knock over a guitar there. Hold on a second. Just gonna stay put. Okay. So yeah, again, I have said I'm not worried about that being a smooth motion because eventually it should just turn into a smooth motion the faster you go because eventually you're not going to have a choice. You're going to have to But let's actually have you make a purposeful effort to do a smoother motion. And I think I just had a realization. I never understood why people talk about doing rest strokes. And now suddenly it makes sense. I'm making a face. Because when I was learning sweep picking, I was just basically like, yeah, just doing stuff like that. And then eventually just kind of turned into what it needed to be. Okay. So in that case, we're going to change this up a bit because I think this is going to help you. So you can just stick on like the A minor arpeggio again, and so taking other people's advice, because now the more I think about it, now that I'm trying it here, it suddenly makes sense, and I think this can help you. So basically when you pick down, you can rest on that next string, so B to the E string, hang it out there, and then when it's time to go through, then you put that index finger down. So you're not going to be picking through the string, you're just resting on the string. So that could be really helpful, I think. So the other thing I was doing here, holding that C major 7 chord. I think doing that, it might help you get a good feel for how it's kind of like one motion, and you'll feel the pick just kind of fall off the string. So you will need to have a little bit of a slant to the pick like this. It doesn't have to be really big. I don't know if you got a bevel, I don't remember what kind of pick you use, but if it's beveled like this one, that certainly helps. And then what you can do is move the fingers as you go. And then eventually just go faster and faster. If you want to do that with the metronome, you certainly can. Let's get the little metronome going here. Let's see. You could even start with something this simple. Probably you gotta start with like quarter notes and work that up. And you see I am doing the rest stroke thing. So I'm going to the next string and stopping. But you gotta make sure that your hand syncs up with that. So let's see. This is kind of cool realizing this. I do not consider myself a good sweep picker. So I should say full disclosure on that. I think as far as techniques go, sweep picking is one of my worst. It really is. I haven't spent anywhere near as much time with sweep picking as I have this kind of thing. That's my bread and butter. Anyway, so yeah, starting off, so I got the pinky on the D string, right? And then, just pick straight through. Now my pick is resting on the G string. When it's time to go from the G to the B string, then you got to put that ring finger down. And then, so now my ring finger's on the G string, pick is resting on the B string. Now when it's time to pick through the B string, you got to make sure that you put the middle finger down the same time. So if the synchronization's not there, then this is why I feel like doing this rest stroke thing can be a problem. But if you're able to sync it up, then you should be okay. That's why I think a lot of people just do like the individual strokes like this at first. It makes a lot of sense. And then eventually you just gotta turn into that. But again, I think for you, it might be really helpful that we do this on purpose. So yeah, pick the D string. And make a pinch harmonic on accident. And then when you go to pick through that G string, you gotta get that ring finger down. And now you're resting on the B string. Time to go through the B string, put your middle finger down, boom. And then now I'm resting on the E string, and now I'm gonna go through the E string and put the index finger down. So I think you do the quarter notes on here, that'll give you a good amount of time to think about what's happening. If that's too fast, and it might be because this is a brand new, very strange technique, you could do whole note, or well, you could do whole notes. Maybe half notes will be okay. Like, that'd be a great way to start, and then work it up. And no, we're not going to go to 240. Ugh. There. All right, 120. So from there, we can go back to 60 and just do the quarter notes. Notice my hand's sitting on top of these strings too, so I am making sure I mute things. And so the string muting, that's a result of me moving my hand further and further this way as I go higher on the strings, or go from, go to the higher pitch strings as I go through this. Because if I didn't do that, you have that happening. And that's nasty. Now at this point, you can keep going up with the quarter notes and get up to that 240. Or you can try with the eighth notes and see if you can make it to 120. So here's the thing. If you can't get to 120 with the eighth notes, then you should keep working up with just the quarter notes instead until you get to that 240. So, just say that again. So far, and I'm kind of putting this together as I go here. So, you can start this pattern out with the whole note, or not the whole note, the half note. So 2 clicks per note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So from 60 to 120 like that, and then go back to 60, start doing the quarter notes. When you get up to 120 with the quarter notes, you can go back to 60 and go up in eighth notes. However, once you switch over to eighth notes, if you cannot get up to 120, then I do recommend stay with the quarter notes. So if you cannot reach 120 with the eighth notes, go from 60 up to 240 with the quarter notes. So, but if you can get to at least 120 with the eighth notes, then I think you're fine. So eighth notes. And you give a start, you pick on the string here. Ready? Not a bad idea. Get the pinky ready, get the pick ready. There we go. Get them both ready. And this one, yeah. Try and get up that 240. I am tapping my foot, although every other beat. Oh, there's the 240. And then, yeah, get to that, then 16ths. Anyway, so for the, again, so you can do that. That'd be a great idea. And you can still do practice the chord this way. Which is a great thing to do just to kind of get the feel for that. So this way you're not even worrying about what the left hand's doing anymore. You can just hold, and you're going to do it with any chord. But yeah, just practice getting the feel for that. And then you can fall. Yeah, I think that'll help you get a good feel for how it should be a smoother motion. And then, of course, working on this guy, go back to this. So, like, working on just this guy, I think that'd be fair, just doing that. As I know you can get that up to speed, or I think you got to like 220 last week. But now let's make it purposeful to have the pick rest on the string. I need to respond to your email. I thought I'd be done by now, but apparently not. This is kind of exciting. Okay, so working on that guy, and you can just do even just one time through the arpeggio, like. And then work that up, and just that one time through. Or you can do both of those bars. That's totally fine. Your choice. If you want to just do just one time through the arpeggio and just go up that way, that's fine. You'll definitely go hit a, well, most likely you'll get a faster speed in less time. But getting repetitions with this is important too. So yeah, I'll just demonstrate this way. See, I'm purposely trying to rest the pick on the string. Purposely trying to rest the pick on the string there. Oh, that was shit. For that upstroke, you can't be resting it on anything because it's got to come up and away from the strings so you're ready for that next downstroke. So the downstroke, going from the B to the E string, that will do a rest. It'll stop on the next string. But here, obviously it's not on anything because there are no strings. You get that upstroke, it's got to come up and away. So this way you are prepared for the downstroke. Ugh. That 240, so that's how it looks going up there. So I hope all that makes sense. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. So yeah, try that sweep picking stuff. And yeah, working on step 4 for the triplet speed picking. Okay, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. If you got any questions, let me know. And I will see you again next week.